Hey everyone, we'll get going here very soon.
Hey, how are ya?
Hey, your camera's off.
Start my video here. There we go.
There you go.
How you
Excellent. I
doing?
just said it live. Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Good to be here again for another week of Global Rising Song. Right.
Each time we do one of these, you're in a different room.
I know. I'm just trying to mix it up, trying to find my best environment. I got my special sign in the background, so I don't know if you can
Nice.
see. Yeah. Yeah.
In the lava land.
And the lava lamp is, yeah, that's from the old studio. Remember the old studio, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I still got the lava lamp, man. So
That's funny.
well, if anybody's watching this, and we don't know if anybody's watching this, is there any way for
Well,
us to
people are
know?
watching. Come on, man.
Okay, I mean, okay, they're watching. All right. So, uh, my name's Keith Moore. I'm the creator and developer. Well, not developer. You're the developer. I'm the creator of Global Rising Song, and it's of course you're here, so you know what it's all about. So I'm not going to tell you what it's all about. And
You
I'm
could
in.
help.
Huh?
Why not?
All right, well, let me tell them what it's all about, just in case. If you're wondering what Global Rising Song is it is a singer-songwriter virtual open mic contest where anybody in the entire world can submit their song video of themselves performing their song or in a music video, as long as they're doing something in it, we'll take it. And you get to watch it and you get to vote for your favorite song. And so the round has been live since Monday, and we're finishing up here in 1 hour, and it's been an exciting week. And so we'll get two winners tonight. We'll get our fan vote winner, and then we'll have our music industry judges winner, and our judges will be coming on board with us in just a little while to let us know what song they thought was the most commercial. So I'm here in Nashville, and this is my wonderful son here. Why don't you introduce yourself, buddy?
Yeah, I'm John Kyle. I am a designer of anything related to the internet. And when the coronavirus stuff started to happen, the live event that Keith does was unable to go on as usual, like so many other events across the country and the world. And Keith wanted to not only be able to, give people something to look forward to through this, but also help fund these people when they're not able to play live. And so we created Global Rising Song, where not only is it this sort of like showcase and contest, but it's also a way for your followers and fans and friends to fund your talent. And I thought it was a great idea. And here we are a few weeks later. And, what's amazing is that when we first started this, we weren't sure exactly whether other people would catch on to the idea. But I mean, what's the latest total that we have for the whole series? We're up to what? You know,
It's quite a bit.
almost $35,000 have come through for songwriters who are, all kind of sharing in common this difficult position of not being able to perform live, even even if you're able to perform in some places, it's not at the same capacity, and it's not going to be for some time. And so to try to find ways to be able to turn your followers on social media and things like this into people who can help support you through this time in like a fun and easy way is what we're focused on.
Yeah, and it's been like John Kyle's been saying, we've had 35, almost 35,000 come in, which is amazing. And when we did start this back a couple months ago, um, I launched a site that wasn't very appealing, but it did get the job done. And
Functional.
that very first round, we had over 4,000 votes come in, and I was like, "Wow, that blew my mind." I didn't know if anybody would do it, but our writers were certainly thrilled, and the writers make the majority of the income. So, if
And I
they,
think the writers were surprised as well because it's something where you never know until you try something. And this is kind of a new idea,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so with new ideas comes some skepticism. And I certainly had the same thing until we saw how effective it was. And the reason that we've continued to build it is to try to keep up with what people are asking for, right? And what people, and not just the songwriters, but the people who want to support the songwriters are looking for out of this. And that's why we continue to improve it each week.
Yeah, it's you've been adding some really incredible features like real-time voting. So, as soon as somebody casts a vote, the numbers go up right on the site, and you can see
Yeah, it just
exactly.
functions how you would expect, something to work. It
Yeah,
just works.
yeah, and it's great. So, if you are watching this and you want to cast a vote, you should try it out and make sure you cast a vote for your favorite writer. If you've got somebody that you want to support them, or if you don't know them, you can check them out and do it soon because voting ends at 9 o'clock Central Time. So that's only 56 minutes. So you're going to have to hurry up and get it done. So it's been a really amazing day, John Kyle. I mean, literally, we've
There's
had
been a lot of activity.
yeah, we've had a leader change today. Our number, I think, I'm not sure where our current leader was at the start of the day. I know he wasn't in second place. He might have actually
It
been.
was like 350,
Yeah,
350 votes or so.
yeah. And then all of a sudden, Frankie shot up to 731. So he's leading the pack right now, 731. And Dylan Payne is in second with 614. And Stephanie Beck, as you can see, she's in third place. And so what is great about this particular round is that there isn't anybody that's like super far ahead. We've had some rounds where the first place writer have been way out in front, and it kind of takes the wind out of the sails of the round. So this round is still really close, and it's anybody's round to win. And if they win this round, the audience winner, the fan vote winner, gets $100 cash from us. And then they get to move on to our final, what we call our super round, that will be coming up here pretty soon. And they'll be competing with our other round winners. So we'll be doing 10 rounds. This is round 9, and we'll be doing 10 rounds. And so it's going to be a blast when we get to that final super round because everybody will ask their fans to come in and do it once again. And we think that round's going to be like outrageously good, all of our round winners. So it's going to be fun, man. So Frankie got, I think what he got, like, did he get 3 or 4 100 votes like right in a row this afternoon?
Yeah, yeah, you had several.
Yeah. Well, we saw him come in. Looking right here, looks like a couple of them were anonymous, but Thelma from Mount Bethel, PA, she cast 100 vote. Lisa from Mount Bethel, PA, cast 100, and Sanja. They're all from Mount Bethel, so it looks like Frankie's got a hot zone up there in Mount Bethel. I wonder where Frankie's from. I got to check that out again on the page and see where he's from. Is he from Mount Bethel?
I believe so.
Okay, so that's why. And you know what? That's what's really cool about this is that you can go to your friends, fans, and no, Frankie lives in Denver, Colorado. Denver. So he's got some fans out in Mount Bethel, which is really, really cool. And that's what makes this event so neat is that the writers can go ahead and share this to their friends, fans, and followers and their family and turn them into funders, and help them to take care of maybe a bill. Or I know in the case of one writer tonight, they are donating their proceeds, their voter income to their favorite charity, which I think is really cool. And we saw that happen in other rounds during this series, John Kyle. John Flood up in Canada, he came in second place about 4 or 5 rounds ago, and he had, I think it was over 2,500 votes, and he didn't win the fan vote. He came in second, but John and his writing partner donated their winnings this week to a food kitchen up in where they live up in Canada, and I think that's really, really cool that they did that. Yeah, so we're seeing some really cool results from the contest that we never thought would happen, but it's been really neat to see happen. Really cool. Yeah. So so we're going to be bringing on our round judges here pretty soon. What'd you work on this week on the site, John Kyle? What'd you do? I mean, I know you've been busy. You're always working on this.
Plenty of stuff.
Tons of stuff.
Plenty of stuff.
Plenty of stuff. Well, I know one of the things that we're working on is to provide a kind of like an artist admin section, the writer admin section, where they can get in there and they can, they can see the votes coming in and they can see who's voting for them. And that's really, really helpful so that they can quickly thank them while the actual event's going on. So that'll be really, really cool. What else you got up your sleeve? Anything?
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff. I think that having the ability to be able to gain insight into who is supporting you throughout the round will be extremely helpful for people. It's something where you can have all the followers in the world, but if they're not engaged, then it's not really doing anything to help you not only sustain what it is that you want to be doing, but it's also for other people who are looking at you, it's kind of unconvincing because it's very easy to get a lot of followers, but to get a lot of people, you only need, a couple hundred like really dedicated fans to be able to do something like this in like a pretty serious way, right? So the difference and that's something that isn't communicated through follower count, but something like this where you can share something with your following and be able to have like a good gauge about like exactly like who is supporting you in a way that's more than just like, pressing a play button on YouTube and things like this, but they're actually willing to sort of like go the further step. That's like really great stuff to know. And that's also stuff that you can then use as like a catalyst even to launch a Patreon and things like this. Or if you wanted to launch a Kickstarter, you can do that based off of who supports you in this thing that's really fast and easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I've asked some of the writers, who have participated in the series what they thought of the fan votes and the, fans donating $1 vote. And they were blown away by the concept, and they were blown away that they received, votes. And it really kind of validated them and reaffirmed them that people actually do care about what
Yeah,
they're
it's a
doing.
huge motivational force. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing is people, are skeptical about, they think that they're good, but then they're hesitant to, consider that they're of value, right? And so you might be thinking like, I think I'm good, and you're sharing stuff constantly online. But then as soon as like you ask somebody to like support you with $1 or something like that, people are reluctant to. And it's this weird kind of twisted thing in a way because we're so used for things being free that we expect that nobody would want to support us because we are, say, when Netflix is $10, why would somebody give me $30, right? But it's because you're not Netflix, right? There's like a difference between like, people who are big players and people who are small players. And the people who are close around you are oftentimes eager to support what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, you just have to give them a reason to, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's something where like, these days, everyone is, so it's things are so driven by attention these days.
Yeah.
And so to have something where by entering this, you have excitement to be sharing with people that's outside of like the typical, like, here's where I'm eating lunch or something like this. So much of this stuff is lifestyle these days, right? So you can be talented, but like what you're doing is more lifestyle oriented. And so with this, to have like a familiar format of like a talent contest that you enter, but then also communicate that like this is also a way to fundraise for me, right? Or fundraise for a cause that I believe in, and I'll donate half the proceeds or all the proceeds like you've seen, right? It's a really interesting model. And I think it's something that depends upon people being willing to try something a little bit new, because oftentimes people are surprised by how far their friends and family and followers will take them.
Yeah, and it's been really cool for the fans too. I know we've heard from some fans who have voted, and they thought it was just such a super cool idea that we came up with, and that it's so easy to use, and it's all your information that's out there on the page is put together so well, and just how it all works is really, really great. And you've done a great job with that. I know you've worked a lot at putting all that together, so I appreciate that. So me and John Kyle are kind of like a team. I mean, we've been working with musicians in the music industry for so many years. I mean, me going back 30 some years, and I had a recording studio in Pennsylvania where I produced a bunch of music, including world-renowned electric guitarist Rick Derringer, who wrote Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. So I mixed the record for him, and worked with a bunch of other cool people in a studio in Pennsylvania. And when John Kyle was little, he was just I don't know, you were like, let me see, that was 97. So you were about 7 years old then, right? And so he had the run of the studio, and so he was watching what was going down, and he was very involved with the studio and involved with, you know, learning how to use computers. And of course, I was using computers at that time, and so got him doing websites for some of the artists coming through my studio, and he was really good at it. And then he just kept learning and learning, and he's been out in Los Angeles now for what, going on 11 years?
Mhm.
Yeah, 11 years. So so we've both been very involved in the tech side of you know, just the internet and with music. And I think people sometimes think that there's this humongous corporation behind something like Global Rising Song that looks so professional, but honestly, you're looking at it right here, and we don't mind, you know, saying that, right? I mean, we're the
No,
guys. Yeah,
I think that there's like a real demand for things which are a bit more grassroots oriented, right? Like when
yeah,
everything is kind of being centralized within, you know, Facebook and Instagram and things like this. And, you know, you as a user, you kind of are relegated to looking exactly like everybody else. And so with this, it's something where our interest isn't even close to the same as these large platforms, right? Because we're interested in passing along the majority of what comes through here back to the talent, right? As opposed to funding these huge things. And that's something that I think is really important. And you know, you as like somebody on Instagram, you only get paid if you post an ad. You don't get paid because you do interesting things. Whereas with this, you know, people vote. It's not a like, it's actually funding you and it's a vote.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it's, speaking of which, it looks like Andrew from Florida just gave Dylan Page 130 votes.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Wow, cool, man. Good. Well, so everybody, you know, get on there and make sure you vote for your favorite one. We're like going to turn this into a telethon now. Vote for your favorite songwriter and help them to pay a bill. They need your help. You know, I feel like Sarah McLaughlin with the ASPCA. I don't know. Anyways, but it's great. And we've seen these rounds, man, they take on a life of their own. I mean, you know, it's been going on now. This is the 5th day. But generally this last hour can be very, very exciting. We've seen other rounds where we thought the round was over. Pretty much there was somebody out ahead. One of the writers were out ahead by, you know, 1,000 votes. Well, lo and behold, somebody cast a vote. We had one vote come in last second, pretty much like within a few seconds of it ending for 2,000. They cast 2,000 votes, which I just fell off my chair. I couldn't believe it. And the writer couldn't believe it either, because it wasn't somebody that they knew that well. They weren't voting for themselves, and it wasn't their parent or anybody that they knew. This was a casual relationship with somebody, and they wanted to help them in their music and their songwriting, and they wanted to help them win. And so they did that, and it was great. It was
Yeah, I
amazing.
think that was a really good example of how, you know, if with that specific instance, these were people who had been friends several years before, and then they kind of reconnected. And it's something where if you share something and you can just like it, it's really of it's so common today that it doesn't really hold much value, right? But if you say, here's something that I'm doing, and you can kind of communicate the value that I hold to you and things like this, it goes like a very long way. And it looks like Dennis just gave from Florida just gave 20 votes to Dylan as well. So we're up to
Right.
3,459 total votes.
That's fantastic, man. I just got a text from Dylan. I was like, Dylan, if you end up being like the fan vote winner, we don't know if it's going to be you or if it's going to be the other guy above you. But just be ready, man, to jump in on the Zoom. And he's like, I just got home from work. I can't figure out my Zoom password and blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, you got 40 minutes, man. Figure it out, and then you got to let your fans know. Come in and put you over the top. So we're going to see, you know, who actually wins this thing. I mean, Dylan could come out. There could be a sleeper. We call them sleeper fans. The sleeper fans come out of nowhere. And oh, hold on a minute. So okay, so like Dylan did jump back in the lead. I just totally missed that, John Kyle. So Dylan
Oh
did
yeah,
jump
he
back.
did. 764.
Good
Yeah.
night. All right, now it's getting fun. All right, so now Dylan is out in front, and
Yeah.
and so wow, this is cool. When you said 130 votes, I'm like, who? I was too busy talking to hear you. All right, so this is
Yeah,
cool.
so now Dylan is up ahead.
Ah, Dylan jumped back up. So Frankie, man, if you're watching this, Frankie, and Frankie's fans, you need to get on the horn, man, and start doing some voting for Frankie. This is the fun of this event. This is what makes this thing so much fun, especially for us. It turns into like an eBay thing in the last hour, you know, where the fans come in and they've been holding on to their votes, and that sleeper fan might come out, and yeah, so yep. And so we'll see how this thing works out. We've got 40 minutes left, so you got 40 minutes to vote.
Yeah. Should we maybe try calling in the judges?
They're going to be they're coming in at 8:30, unless there's one of them sitting there waiting for us. We can bring him in now if you want.
No, nobody's in there yet, but it could
right.
just be kind of nice.
All right, let me text him and say anytime you want to jump in, you can jump in. We'd like to bring our judges on.
Yeah, this past Wednesday as well, in the middle of the round, we brought the leader of the round at that time, Stephanie Beck from New Zealand, in to do a live performance and interview, which was super enjoyable. And that was great because it's something where performing it live, she did it acoustically, and you were sort of able to pick up on some of the nuance in like the live performance, and then to be able to ask about specific process that she has within her songwriting. And there's lots of these interviews which are available within the archive on the YouTube page for Global Rising Song, which we're working to better integrate. They're also within some of these updates that are available.
Yeah, that was really fun having Stephanie on the Zoom. She's did you say she was all the way from New Zealand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was busy texting our judges trying to get them on. So yeah, you can tell this is live. This is not Memorex. This is live. We're here. I'm here in Nashville, and John Kyle's out in Los Angeles, and we are counting down to the end of this round that's coming up a little under 40 minutes, and we will see who wins. And we're just keeping an eye on the votes coming in just to see what happens. It's been an exciting half hour since we've been on.
Yeah, over the past 30 minutes, Dylan is now, he has the most votes.
Man, Dylan is back in the lead. Well, that'll be exciting for him. These writers are all really good. I mean, you know, the thing about it is that we have music industry judges, and they're listening. Well, they'll tell you what they're listening for when they jump on. I don't want to tell you or speak for them, but they're listening for some specific things that we'll talk about when they jump on, and then we'll get to know them as well. So I did text them, John Kyle. So I don't know if anybody's jumped on yet.
Great. No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, well, they'll get on. We told them 8:30 Central, and so they're both from the Nashville area. And I'll kind of do a quick intro, or I'll just let them intro themselves when they jump on. But they're folks I've gotten to know here in Nashville. I've been doing a songwriter open mic contest in venues like John Kyle was talking about for over 10 years here in Nashville. We've had thousands and thousands and thousands of songwriters come through the contest. Writers like Kelsey Ballerini came through our event when she first hit town. Our very, very first winner, a gentleman named Jason White, he went on to sing lead vocals for a country band called the Lost Trailers. They were pretty big. They had some great big songs. And now he's working, developing singer-songwriters and artists through his National Artist Development University company. And they're one of our partners that we partnered up with. So I've been doing this, like I say, a long time here in Nashville. I've gotten to know a lot of people from publishing companies and management. And the word's starting to get out about this event because it's so unique. Tuesday, I'm doing, John Kyle, I'm doing a Zoom meeting with a company that networks all these music industry people here in town. And they found out about us. And so they said, why don't you talk about what you're doing and how you're doing it? So I'm looking forward to doing that on Tuesday. Yeah. So,
Awesome.
You know,
it looks like Justine just entered, so we can invite her in.
Yeah, let's invite Justine in.
Okay. Hey, Justine.
Let's see what happens here. She's connecting up. She's still connecting. It's funny because she's an audio producer and engineer, so you think she'd connect up to her audio pretty quick.
Well, that's like, I'm not sure if you caught any of the congressional hearings with the 4 CEOs of these large technology companies, but they had to take a recess about an hour into the hearing because of technical issues on the other
really?
side. And I think it was like the CEO of Google was like having audio issues.
Hey, there she is.
Hey guys, how are you?
Great,
Good.
how are you?
Good.
Good. Are you having a nice day, Justine? Or is it less busy than yesterday?
No. It never slows down. No, just had to do a track today, and then just I had this list here. I'm just plowing through it. So this is my to-do list today.
Oh my
So yeah,
God.
it ought to be good, but we're good. So
Wow.
I
Well,
got one of my productions done. So that's a big, big relief. So
yeah,
it's been busy. So how about you guys?
we're
It's been
living the
good. It's
dream.
been an exciting past 30 minutes even. So we went live 30 minutes ago, and during that time, over 150 votes have come in, and now Dylan is leading the pack.
Okay. Well, cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like a telethon for songwriters. That's great.
I guess so. Yeah, that's
You know,
awesome.
what do you think about this idea?
I mean, I think it's cool, because especially in the time that we're in, it's just
Yeah.
what else can you do? You can't go out to
Mhm.
rounds and things like that. Even if you wanted to, you can't. So, I mean, I think this is a way for people to stay stimulated and stay focused on, the writing and not get into a weird place of wasting time, so keeping focused. So yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
good.
And what's I think also pretty phenomenal is that if you're performing out one evening, only the people near you are able to come to the room that you're performing in,
Right.
Whereas with this, you're able to sort of, perform, you make it available to people for the week. And then because of the format, it creates excitement. And then oftentimes, I mean, Dylan right now has 760 votes, which because each vote is $1 equates to like a pretty ridiculously good evening if you're performing live somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Is it, where are you at? Is it still light out?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow, it's dark where I'm at.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
dark
quite.
here in Nashville.
Yeah, it's 8:26 right now. So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
so while we have you, why don't you tell folks a little bit about yourself, like what you've done and what you're doing?
Okay. Sure. Well, is this just for us, or is this actually like streaming?
Live.
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 Oh, is it
We're
live?
live
Oh, okay.
streaming.
It's
Yeah.
on our site.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys don't know me, my name is Justine Blazer. I am a music producer, a songwriter, a composer, also an artist, but did that for many years, and now I'm, really working more full time as a music producer and mixing engineer. I recently got inducted into the Recording Academy, so I'm now a member of it, and I am a Grammy voter, and I'm also an ACM and CMA member and voter as well. So I'm very active in that as well. I'm actually speaking with Congress in a couple weeks about some of the musical situations that we're in with COVID and things like that. So
Oh, wow.
somewhat serving as an activist as well. Just kind of the way it's sort of transition into that, but very exciting. I work with a lot of artists that are kind of like, breaking into the scene, or they're like more on the emerging level artists. I also work with a lot of different independent labels. I do also some stuff for sync licensing. I've had a few placements with that. So it really is a huge range of things. And now it's also lately here, I've been doing a lot of music video directing and those kind of things as well. So it's kind of embodied like the whole spectrum of what, what to do as an artist, because they come to me and it's like, hey, where do I start? What do I do? How do I do this? How do I do that? And so, you kind of get attached to these artists, and you really see the growth from like your basic phone level recording, to a full on, radio ready track that's getting, airplay overseas and charting. And, so it's really interesting to kind of see how the growth can happen when you have an artist that's, talented and has, a great ear and has the willingness to work and, just be coachable. So it's all of those things that I'm doing. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Man. Well, I know that you're a fantastic songwriter, singer. I mean, you've done some work for me, and
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have definitely.
I appreciate that so much. I mean,
Yeah, no problem.
you really are in demand. I mean, you are so busy. I mean, you put in yesterday. I saw you put in what, like an 18-hour day, like doing a video shoot for one
Yeah.
of your artists, and
Yeah. I know
yeah.
I got up at 3 a.m. and we had to drive all the way up to Lexington, and we had to be there for like 8 a.m. for her video, and then we just shot all day long, and I didn't get back until 9 o'clock at night. So yeah, it was an all day thing, but it's worth it. I mean, this is the sweat equity that people don't realize and people don't see in the business. They think you write a song or two, and why am I not signed? That's the biggest, sort of thing I have to sort of teach people along the way is like, how much work are you actually putting into your craft? How much are you studying? How much are you trying to make it better? Are you going to be able to put in the hours? Because this isn't just some magical thing. You just snap your fingers and things happen. You have to work for it. So
Yeah.
big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that's something that we see reflected within this as well, right? Because we'll see artists come through that are phenomenal with talent and things like this, but unless you're working to progress not just your talent, but also, the audience that you're building along the way, you'll kind of just be sort of, I mean, you'll have the benefit of enjoying hearing yourself play, but
Right.
nobody else will be listening necessarily.
Yeah, it truly is. Actually, I had a conversation recently about, how, what, happens next and all those kind of things. And it's like,
Mhm.
there is no guarantees. And it's really comes down to, are you, working your social media? Are you building every single day, trying to get a new fan, trying to, get another person onto your music? Because there
Mhm.
isn't a magical person or a magical connection. I mean, those things help, but at the end of the day, it's the artist sets the tone for the amount of work level that they're getting, and all their team just basically mirrors what they're doing. So if your level is up here, a good team matches that. If your level's down
Mhm.
here, your team's going to match that too. Does that make sense? So I never want to be working
100%.
harder than the artist, but I want to be
Mhm.
working just as hard and just kind of staying like almost neck and neck, trying to keep up with their pace. They keep up with me. And that's a good, healthy balance versus you trying to push somebody when you know that they don't really want to, they don't really have that, sort of that tenacity to keep going, or they don't have the motivation
Mhm.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But it's just, you have to understand, you put in, you get out what you put in, and vice versa.
Exactly. And we were talking about this earlier, but sometimes we'll see the opposite as well, where we'll see people enter and then we're really surprised by how they do. And it's because they'll put the work in, right? Like if
Right.
it's the talent stuff it's so tricky because I know so many talented people who are sometimes afraid about what other people will think about them, or they're sort of, big talent is often, their own worst critics as well. And so to be able to sort of take a leap and try something and see how it goes, and then also not be afraid to ask, I think goes a long way, right? But it's
It's so
very funny because you have both sides of that. You have people who ask everything of everybody and then don't put in the work, and then you have people who put in so much work but they're afraid to ask because they're so familiar with what it is that they're doing
Yeah.
that it's hard to kind of look at it objectively.
it's that's true. And also sometimes you don't know what to ask. So it's good to
Yeah.
get with a team. And it can, I mean, your team can be like one person. It can be like two people. It doesn't have to be this like 85 people that you're kind of working with. It can just start with a couple of, maybe a mentor or a songwriter
Mhm.
that you're really connecting with. And whether, it doesn't matter like what age you are, it's just a matter of like your level and trying to get with somebody that has a little bit more knowledge or success. And but also, not just that though, I see both sides. I see that, then I also see people listen to every single thing that comes through the door, and they're like, well,
Mhm.
this person said this and this person says that, and I'm like, well, is this person working with you every single day? No, they are not. So you have
Right,
to
right, right.
understand, like, everyone in this business is going to have an opinion, and I've been doing this a very long time, pretty much my entire life, and I have learned that I just take things for what it is. I respect the people that I sort of bring into my circle, and that's the people that I
Mhm.
really rely on and give me that harsh creep feedback that I'm wanting, versus just all of like the random trolls that I kind of call them. They're just like people
Yeah,
that
sure.
like to make noise and they think they're like really important. The question is like, what have you done to validate these opinions that you think that I need to do to change? So it's just being aware of where people's opinions are and learning where to kind of fall and listen to. Because if you listen to every single person every single day all the time, you're not gonna be able to stay afloat in this business, because then you're gonna drive yourself nuts, So
Yeah,
having that
100%.
balance.
Yeah, definitely. And that's where, finding different contexts to be able to talk to people within, right? Like how you would perform in a stadium is different than you would perform in a small room, right?
Mhm.
And I think that part of what's difficult for people right now is that with the difficulties of the pandemic, you're very sort of stuck within this one size fits all of either trying to still continue to do a little bit of work through the social media aspect because that's still here, right?
Right.
But in that setting, everybody is identical,
Yeah.
and it's very difficult to it's more comfortable to reach out to like somebody within a small group of people than it is, like shouting to the void, basically, right? Of just like
Yeah.
listening to it's like everybody's shouting that, and that's something that a few of the artists who have been involved in recent rounds have said to me, is that because they really enjoyed a song that somebody else contributed, they started talking, and now they're sending tracks back and forth that they've been
Mhm.
working on and everything. And
Yeah.
so that kind of
Oh, yeah.
social glue is like really important right now, to find not just ways of being able to share your work, but being able to form lines to connect with your peers, right? It's like
Yeah.
super crucial.
Yeah, and because of the pandemic, it's actually, if you know how to kind of work the angles and get really creative, you can actually make this work to your benefit, because you have to remember, me, you, everyone else, Miranda Lambert, Keith Urban, everyone
Mhm.
is in the same boat.
Same
So
boat.
Yeah,
now you cannot use the
it's a great
excuse of,
equalizer.
well,
Yeah.
I don't have the, the connections to get on a tour, and I don't have the,
Mhm.
fill in the blank. And it's like, look,
Yeah.
this is what
Nobody's
you
touring.
give it. We are actually in a very interesting time, because it's up to whoever's in that driver's seat to make
Yeah.
things happen, because you have no
Mhm.
essentially competition to get in the way. Or people, this is a big one. When people go into like label meetings or whatever, they're going to ask you, what are your numbers? What's your
Mhm.
revenue? What's your show count? What's your seat attendance? All those things. And now you can't ask
Mhm.
those questions. So now it's
Yeah,
up to
yeah,
the
yeah.
artist to really push through, make some stuff
Mhm.
happen, because you have no excuse. You have no reason why you can't make something happen right now. So actually, if you can make it work, you really have an interesting time, because we're in a very innovative kind of spectrum of the season. So the people that are able to kind of get
100%.
in there, build their online presence, it's, you have to learn the technology, you have to, kind of be aware of where we're at, but this is where it's going. And I think a lot of these things, just like this competition right here, the global
Mhm.
song rise, and this would have never emerged if we didn't have this pandemic. Think about it.
Yeah,
It just
exactly.
wouldn't have. So
Yeah, what's funny is like we had discussed this actually a few years ago, but it was still about how to build something to let people do this in venues, right? Because there's all sorts of things that you need to be able to operate a songwriter night. And if there was like a tool that you had which unified the voting, as well as like if people wanted to donate for the votes, how would this work, right?
right.
But it didn't seem intriguing enough, but that's because it was still considered about, where you think about this still as it existed within a venue. But once we made it something where this neutralizer of everybody isn't able to perform live, but everybody's on their phone,
Yep.
now here's something which like this actually makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And I think this is really where the artists that are going to be proactive and thinking ahead, is they have a very captive audience. And so
Mhm.
people that are able to make content right now, because you have the time,
Mhm.
you have an audience, you have, usually when people put out in a release, we're so busy with, we're driving, we're in the office,
Mhm.
we're at daycare, we're whatever the excuse is, and
Mhm.
no one is doing that. I mean, you may have a little
Mhm.
bit here and there, but not at the level that it was. So what everyone's doing? They're on their phone looking at
Mhm.
whatever. So
Yeah.
you have an
Mhm.
opportunity to really make some great content. And it doesn't have to be anything where you have to spend a ton of money. It can be just on your phone, but
Yeah.
staying active in those platforms.
Exactly. Well, I think accessibility, I have a friend who said that like, because he was watching how Jimmy Fallon was just in his basement, right? When all
Mhm.
this hit. He was like, this is home turf for me because that's where I do my stuff, is just like in my place. I make it work. The audio's not great. And this is such like a leveling kind of mechanism within production specifically.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And then you can find ways to monetize this too. I mean, you can try to get on Patreon, or get on, try to build your, like, your store on your website. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many
And
things that
that's like
you can be doing.
totally, and that's what this is, like something like Patreon, because it's subscription based, like you have to keep it up, right? And that's like a tricky thing. And it's also kind of the format is pretty long term, right? Like it's durational. Same thing with like a Kickstarter. You can have a specific project in mind, like I want to work on an EP, and then you have to create the campaign around this and all that.
Right.
And you're the only one driving attention to it. Whereas with this, because you're entering into something with a group of people,
Yep.
you have like a multiplying effect on the attention within this format. And then you get like a very fast-paced version of like what a Kickstarter campaign is. You take
Hmm.
something that would last 3 months and you make it a week long, right?
Yeah.
And oftentimes, and it's something where those are two very different things. But I think that this model, and you look at on television, some of the biggest shows are talent contest shows.
Yep.
And like there's a lot of room in like this sort of like the passion economy, right? And like creators and people who are creating things that people enjoy, and then you want to fund it because you want it to exist,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then how does that work relative like the excitement of like a talent show or things like this, where you're not just operating like I'm just shouting into the void again, but you create like a small group of people kind of doing something similar, right? And then you have that be the vehicle to drive, some of this way of monetizing basically these things, which I, again, that's like not a, it's strange that that's perceived as being something bad today, but it's because we're so used to things which are free, right? That
Mhm.
like we have difficulty assigning value and saying what I do is valuable.
Right.
And that's, again, it's amazing to see that people will join this and not be sure what's going to happen, and then they're super surprised because people that they haven't talked to for years have given them like $1,000 in votes because they want to see them do well within this context.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. So we all have
Yeah.
something that inspires us, and if this is something that inspires, help that artist. Throw $5.
Yeah,
You think twice. Going to Starbucks and spending $5 on a coffee or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
So it's like
Yeah,
if it's something that is to help an artist or keep their passion going,
exactly.
donate.
And it's something where, when everybody listens to music through Spotify or Apple Music, that's just like you get your 0.0001 cent, based off of that. And right now there's like such like a huge gap between like what it takes to start like a Patreon or a Kickstarter campaign versus like the pennies that you get from like Spotify unless you like really, really work it.
Yeah. I mean, you don't even have to do the Patreon thing. I mean, you can just throw up your Venmo and
Yep.
your
Yeah,
PayPal.
totally.
And I mean, every time I go and do a live, I'm very surprised how many people can, I just get a little bit of money from that. And so it's always super
Right.
encouraging. You don't realize, like, it feels very like one dimensional because you're just kind of playing
Yeah,
in
yeah,
your room, and you don't realize like the effect that, a performance can have on whoever is
right.
watching.
Yes.
So, just a little bit goes a long way, and it just continues to keep us as creators stimulated and focused on, keeping up our craft, because it is very, very easy to do kind of stay like
Yeah,
in a sort of state where it's like, why am I doing this? This is pointless,
100%.
So
Yeah, yeah,
you have
yeah.
to just try not to get in that mindset, and it's really, really hard. But things like this competition, continuing to stay engaged, it's just going to help keep you going. So then when you do perform, get back out there on tour, now you have a whole new group of fans that you never really
Mhm.
had before. And it's
Yeah,
really going to be exciting how you can kind of merge all that together and continue that growth.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it looks like Jim has joined us. Jim, can you hear?
Finally. Yes, I
Hey.
can. Finally.
Oh, there
How
you
you
are.
guys doing?
You're
I'm
just
here.
you're lounging on your couch, man, just like chilling
That's,
out.
that's exactly what I'm doing.
Well, good for you, man.
It's a good Saturday.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. We've got Justine on the Zoom with us, and
Hi, Justine.
Hello.
so glad that you two were our music industry judges this week. Jim, why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself before we talk about songs?
Oh gosh. How much time do we have?
Sure. Just the good stuff. Just the good stuff.
Well, long story short, I came here way back in 1989. Got involved in came here to songwrite and get in that community, and quickly kind of realized that I had a gift for production as a multi-instrumentalist, and found that I could make not a lot of money, but a lot of good money working for songwriters doing publishing demos.
Yeah.
And that kind of became the catalyst for everything. And I've just been here doing, producing projects, custom projects, label projects, music for television, just how it is.
Yeah,
Anything and everything.
Well, what were some placements of some of your songs? I know you've had some placements in commercials and also in TV shows and stuff.
Yeah, mostly a lot of it has been like cable television, like Undercover Boss, HGTV, stuff like that.
Yeah. And you have a couple great bands here in Nashville that are really amazing. Tell us about them.
Well, that's kind of like a older life project kind of thing, but I get to work with two great bands on a regular basis. One is a Journey tribute band called Resurrection that I sub with for their keyboard player, and they do about 80 to 100 shows a year. Not recently, of course.
Yeah.
But then it's another band that I'm a founding member of, Child's Anthem, which is a Toto tribute band. And
Yeah.
we're just kind of enjoying playing, that kind of music from that era, and it seems to, be well received.
Well, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, Toto's one of my favorite bands. Every time
Well,
you put
sure.
a video up, I'm like, holy cow, this was like freaking great. I mean, they've got some of the
Uh,
best players in Nashville that are part of this band.
It's all studio musicians,
Oh.
so the caliber of musicianship
Yeah.
is really high.
Yeah. Where's your website at? People can see that.
It's www.childsanthem.com.
Yeah, check it out, folks, man. It's
Yeah, it's
amazing.
fun.
You like Toto, like I like Toto. I mean, it's they kill it just about as good as the band. And
Thank you, Keith.
it's been fun today. I've been kind of killing time waiting for the end of our round, and I've been binge watching Live at Daryl's House. You ever watch Live at Daryl's House?
Oh, that's a great show, man. There's some great stuff on there.
Yeah, Daryl
Absolutely.
Hall from Hall & Oates, man. He brings in all these cats. Like I watched Cheap Trick today, and Joe Walsh, and oh my God, it was just the OJs. It was amazing. You ever
Yeah,
seen that, Justine?
I have not seen that.
Oh my God, it's amazing, man. It is so
I'll
cool to
see
see
it.
those cats playing. But
it's kind of fun. I've seen some behind the scenes stuff from that show,
really,
and it seems like they bring in, like, say, a Joe Walsh comes in, and they hang out, and they've got great food catered, and they basically spend the day just kind of hanging out and running the song, whatever the hit song is of Joe Walsh's in this case.
Yeah.
And then they tape it, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. You got to check it out, man, on YouTube. I started watching it. I couldn't stop watching it. It's like Rick Beato videos, man. You start watching that stuff and you can't stop watching it.
It's a deep well. It's a very deep well.
It's a deep well. Well, man, I appreciate you guys watching all the song videos. And that's one cool thing about this contest is that people like on the other side of the world, we had a competitor from New Zealand. She was able to get her song in front of you two and here in Nashville, where she would have never had that opportunity other than this. And so that is so valuable. And I do appreciate you guys listening to all these songs. When you were going through the songs today, I mean, what are you listening for? Like, give us some criteria. As a judge, you're perusing all these videos and you're kind of rapid firing down through them. What are you listening for? Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Justine.
Okay, so I'm looking for just that instant wow factor. It can be a cool hook. It can be something that's just going to catch my attention. Right after that, I'm listening for what is that first lyric? Is it going to be something super generic that's just going to like bore me to death? Or is it going to be something that's like, oh, okay. And I'm looking past the voice. I'm looking past the production. Hopefully, we're not submitting produced songs. We're looking,
Right.
I'm looking more for an authentic. I mean, you could send me a phone recording and I'd be able to kind of see through that. I don't want the glitter and the glam. I that's what we do as producers. We make that track sound amazing. I want to hear just the words, and the voice is okay, but it starts with the words, and it can be just a little something cool with the guitar. It can be something like a cool change or a cool timing or something like that. If it doesn't catch me after about 30, 60 seconds tops, I'm moving on to the next song. So yeah.
Yeah, I would double that. I mean, I certainly I took the time to listen to everything, but I kind of have a sense of what it's going to be within the first 30 to 60 seconds. And I'm like Justine said, I'm looking for the hook. What's the melody? What catches my ear quickly? And it doesn't have to be produced. In fact, I prefer it not be.
Right.
Although those are fun too, but it's not necessary. In fact, I want the song to stand on its own, in its acoustic environment. And there were some really good songs in this round. There's no doubt.
Yeah, we had some really good talent, and this is just like National Rising Song. We never know what we're going to get.
Right.
You know, people submit, and we approve based on really, can you just see them and can you hear them? I'm not really screening songs. I'm not screening songs based on quality. That's your job to listen for the quality of the songwriting. So you're listening. I mean, I'll tell you what, you guys are really nice giving a song 60 seconds. I mean, generally, you know, with publishers in Nashville, man, if that
I know,
man, you know,
they get 10 seconds if they're lucky.
yeah. So no long intros, man. If you guys are out there and you've got a song you want to try to pitch to somebody, make sure you get into verse 1 by, I mean, as quick as you can, man. Like, I don't know, what, 10 seconds? Is that too long anymore?
That's pushing it.
Don't bore us, get to the chorus. That's my motto.
That's good. I like that. Don't bore us, get to the chorus. I love
and we hear this phrase, top line, strong top line. What does that mean?
Top lines. I've actually been hired to do a ton of top lines. They send me an instrumental, and I have to just give that song life. And they give me. It's so vague. I have to find something that's going to be like a. It can be like a ooh, ah, da, 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 da. It can be something like really, really simple, but something that's just going to kind of catch the ear and stay and be really repetitive. That's going to be able to kind of bring that to life. So it can be anything. There's just one of those things you just sort of have to like know and practice. It's not like you buy a handbook on like how to write a top line, but just be looking at the songs that stick in your head, listen to them and figure out what is happening, what's going on. Is it the key choice? Are they starting on like that dominant note? Are they going to like kind of that third up? Are they taking that high fifth? I mean, seriously, all of those things make a difference on catching, because frequencies at the end of the day is what noise is. I mean, that's what comes out. That's how we perceive it. It hits our eardrums and we create an emotion with that. So you have to look at all of those things. It's not just words on a page and I'm strumming on my guitar. There's actually a scientific aspect to it as well.
Right.
So it's all of those things.
Good point.
Not to get, into that, but but yeah, I'm sure Jim can kind of agree to that as well.
No, totally. I know for myself, that by the second chorus, if I'm not singing the melody in my head the first time I hear it, it might have missed the mark. I want what's that hook that I can't wait to hear again. What's that melodic content? And it may be lyric, but it's, for me personally, it's probably more often the melody. If the lyric is a little cliche, I can overlook that personally a little bit, but at the end of the day, it still has to be better than average.
Yeah. Give us an example of like what would be a really well-written song that's one of your personal favorites.
Oh, come on, Keith. That's
Just pick one, man.
That's rough.
Pick one.
Man, that's way too much pressure.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's way too much pressure.
I thought this was a softball question.
Yeah. I have my favorites, of course, but they probably go back to writers like Joni Mitchell or Paul Simon. Going way back there, I still consider them to be, for me, the yardstick of what a great melody. And quite on. And there were some songs in this round that actually reminded me very much of that era, which was kind of surprising and fun. I don't know. It's hard. I can't pinpoint a specific song. I think. That's a subjective
Dolly
thing.
Parton is probably the best example. I mean, she had simple but very effective Jolene, 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 and that just sticks in your head. Yeah. One word, but the way that she just kind of modulates up and then goes up and down. I mean, you cannot get that song out of your head. That's a perfect example. She did not overdo it. She did not, she wasn't relying on a awesome production or anything like that. She just had this really simplistic, but very powerful way of, portraying those lyrics. And then in the verses, it gets really descriptive, the ivory, the ivory skin, the green eye, you see exactly what she's talking about. So that's probably a really good example, top of mind.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think we could all agree that's a great one. Absolutely.
And there's many more, but I mean, we could talk about this all day long.
Really. Well, let's talk
that's why she's Dolly Parton. So
and she has a theme park. Yes, and she has a theme park.
She has a theme park.
Yeah, because she made a lot of money off that song. All
Right.
right, she could build a
Speaking
roller.
of that, we just had somebody cast 20 votes for Stephanie from New Zealand.
Oh, good, man. Well, we're gonna, we've got 7 minutes left in this round, and we never know what's gonna happen. We're watching the votes come in live, and we sometimes have a sleeper. We call them a sleeper fan, where they wait until like the last minute and they come in and they cast like a doozy vote. This has happened probably 4 or 5 of these rounds, and it's really, it blows our mind. It's like eBay for songwriters. It's amazing.
That's great.
Yeah, it's happened. We had one time where 2,000 vote came in right in the last minute, and it be 2,000 votes for one person.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
how they do it though, because they sneak up on you. You have no time to retaliate. So
Oh no, you don't.
strategy.
Yeah, our system is set up. John Kyle does all the coding and the design, and he's really great at it. He's got it
Great
set
work,
up
John.
where it shuts it all down like bam, right at 9 p.m. Central Time. You cannot vote,
Wow.
And, yeah. So it's pretty cool. So nobody can like get in at 9:01 and try to outdo somebody else. So we had to really give that a lot of thought, because that kind of thing was going on early on when I first started. I kind of came up with the web design, blah, 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 blah. And I was using PayPal, and it was a weird little thing, man. And so we had a couple people that jumped over at the very end, like last second. And anyway, it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, good.
It doesn't happen anymore. So, well, look, we're getting toward the end. Why don't you guys talk about like your top 3 picks? Let's start with number 3 of who you like, Jim, real quick. And then we'll ask Justine real quick if she had a third, and we'll go number 2, and then we'll do your round winner right at 9. We got 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, for me, I thought Blake Eddy's song, Compromise, had a lot of commercial potential.
Cool.
What about you, Justine? What'd you have as number 3?
Okay, so my number 3 was Trinity Rose.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I liked this. It was very simple.
Yeah.
But it was called Morning Text, and I think it's relevant to our generation. Kind of that
No doubt.
millennial Gen Z
Pre-COVID.
kind of thing, because that's just kind of the era that we're sort of living in. And just had a kind of a cool tone, a cool kind of melodic aspect to the song. So that was definitely a top 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was on actually The Voice and got pretty high up in The Voice. I don't know if you did any digging around on her.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I mean, she's got a killer voice.
Yeah,
She got a great voice,
Yeah,
great singing voice for sure.
yeah. She's been doing really well out there. She's from Malibu, California, so it was really cool to have her in the round, and we were
Yeah.
Oh,
excited
nice.
that she was
Yeah.
part of it. So what song did you like second best?
For me, I really liked Sophia Camille, I think it's her name. The song "Little Time." I mean, it had a great fun video, but that really had nothing to do with my choice of the song. It was a very jazz influenced R&B kind of pop thing, and it definitely caught my ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. She was a great singer too, and I have the feeling, I don't know this for sure, but I have the feeling that's her playing everything.
I first thought
You know what I mean?
I first thought it was triplets when I was watching the video. I'm like, wow, she's got.
I
like,
know. I did the same thing.
I did the same
It took me a second to zone in and like, oh wait, that's all her.
Yeah. I was like, and then I was like, good God, I'm dumb, man. I can't believe I didn't catch it.
I know. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I did the same thing.
Justine, what do you think?
See, you can't do that if this was live, so you can get creative sometimes. In these
Exactly.
I was like, how
No,
did she put herself?
It's funny because Jim and I were pretty we had the same
Right.
opinions about that. I said the same thing. I thought that was a great song. There was something about it just right from the top. It caught my attention. And it was just really creative. Right. It had like kind of this jazz sort of undertone to it, which is refreshing in Nashville because everything's like so country,
Exactly.
whatever.
Exactly.
But Nashville's not all country. I just want to make that really
Not at
clear. I get that. I get that question a lot. They're like, oh well, I don't really, and it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, yeah, it's like where the main country comes from, but you can be any genre. But definitely that would be my number 2. So
That's great. Well, cool. Well, before you guys announce your winner, we've got a little over a minute, right, John Kyle, to see if we get any sleeper votes.
Yeah.
So
I'm keeping an eye on it.
I know we're keeping an eye on it too.
that.
We never know, man. And I got a feeling that we might get one, but then again, I just don't know. But the cool thing about it is we can see it in real time. So if one comes in, we'll be able to see it, and then we'll bring that writer on. So I've got the top couple of them are ready just in case. We just aren't sure. And who knows, somebody way down the line might actually get somebody that throws 1,000 in, and you just don't know.
Right.
Chuck Powell? Yeah. Yeah. So so we're just hanging out. We're just gonna see what happens here.
What have you
Is
been
this
up
a good-
to, Keith?
What's that?
I said, what have you been up to? You've been staying busy?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing this a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
we're working on this behind the scenes, and we've
Oh
got
yeah.
some other cool things that we're working on. So, but yeah, I mean, it's fun to take an idea from conception and then work it, and see what happens with it. So it's been fun to watch us go, but we are working our tails off.
Yeah.
I gotta mention, aside from that, which it's pretty miraculous what you guys have done, no doubt. But the lava lamp behind you, Keith.
Yeah, that's from my studio in Pennsylvania, brother. I brought that with me.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Love it.
I'm sitting here in my little home studio rig, but I don't have nothing like you guys have. But yeah, I had to bring the lava lamp with me.
No, we have to comment on that because that's awesome.
Well, good. I'm glad you're
All
enjoying
about the
it.
vibe. Gotta
All
have a
right,
vibe.
look, we got 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. We're
Great.
done.
Whew.
And I don't
All
know
right.
if anybody came through at the end there. Let's see.
I think Dylan pulled it out. That's
Did
great.
Dylan pull it out?
Yep.
Dylan, yeah, looks like he's the audience.
Oh, yeah.
He did. Dylan
That's
pulled
awesome.
it out. Well, we're going to bring him on in a minute. So
Oh, cool.
why don't I'll tell you what, I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1, and you guys can yell out who you thought was your judge's pick. How's that?
Okay. We can
Are
do
you
that.
ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Eliza.
Eliza.
Smith.
Eliza.
Yeah,
Eliza Harrison Smith.
that's right.
Man, that is so cool. That's awesome. So what did you like about that song? Tell me why you picked it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Justine.
Well, I've seen Eliza actually live a couple times, so I'm not saying that had any influence, but I have seen her live, and she's incredible. Like, she really is this like authentic writer, and her choice of words, I actually envy, because I'm always trying to strive to like get lyrics to be that sort of cohesive and be able to work in that fashion. So as soon as she played her guitar and she just started singing, it was just this level of authenticity that came out. And it, like Jim, I think you referenced it earlier, but yeah, it did have that kind of Joni Mitchell sort of Dolly Parton-esque type of vibe because of the word choices. Yes, it's a very strong melodic hook as well, and that's great. That's like, you're already halfway there, but if you can top that with using words and placements of those words and the different metaphors and just the whole entire subjects, you can make she was a whole like level I mean, everyone was great, but there's just like a whole nother tier that she's hitting, and it really wasn't much in between, if that makes sense. So it was very apparent.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, and I'll add to that and say that the song title, kind of made me go, all right, where are we going with this? And by the time she got to the end of the chorus, I went, okay, you have totally connected this lyric, this title to the whole concept of the song in a format that sounds contemporary and melodic and interesting. And by chorus 2, I'm singing with her. So
very good.
That was it for me.
Well, that's great. Well, Eliza gets to move on to our final, what we call our super round, and she also wins $100 cash from us. So that's cool. And so I just quickly texted her, and believe it or not, she texted me back from an airplane. She's on a plane.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's on airplane mode then, right?
Good. No, well, no,
Yeah.
she can't Zoom. I think they let you text on a plane anymore now.
Okay, that's true.
You know,
That's true. You can do that.
Yeah.
You're
So
right.
you can be on airplane, I think, and text.
you can like connect to their Wi-Fi or something.
Yeah, you connect up to the Wi-Fi.
That's
but you
true.
can't-
That's true.
she can't do the live thing right now, but I'll interview her sometime early this week, and we'll talk about her big win, and
Okay.
certainly communicate to her what you all said. So that's great. So our fan vote winner again was Dylan Payne, right? Dylan Payne. Is Dylan
Good.
actually in the room yet? John
He's
Kyle?
not yet.
He's
No,
not
not
yet.
yet.
Well,
Not
he's.
yet.
I told him to get his behind in there. So it's kind of like herding cats, you know. I mean, it's great.
I don't know.
All right. So I said, Dylan, get in the room. Come on. So I gave him the link. Come on, Dylan. I'm going to text him right now. Come on, bro. So anyway, so this is kind of how this works. So really, you guys were fantastic, sharing
Oh,
like
thanks.
some of your tips on what makes a song a good song. I mean, for writers out there that'll be coming across this, that's just fantastic information. So thank you so much.
Well, our pleasure.
Thanks
Yeah.
for
Pleasure.
asking us.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll give Dylan another couple of minutes, John Collin. If he doesn't show up, we'll just call it a night. How's that?
Yeah, it sounds great.
That's
Well, look,
good.
you guys, Justine and Jim, make sure that you guys check out the links. If you click on their picture right there on our round page, you can go over and read their bio, and their website is right
Okay.
there, and you can find out. But real quick, just Jim, tell us your website again.
Well, for my studio, it's www.bsideproduction.net. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
.net.
not with an S. I don't
Yeah.
believe it's productions with an S. Forgive me, it's been a while since I did. I think it's production.net, bsideproduction.net. And for my guilty pleasure, it's www.childsanthem.com.
Okay. And Justine?
So,
JustineBlazer.com. That's my website.
Awesome. Well,
So you
good.
guys
Well,
check
I'll
it
tell
out.
you what. Why don't you guys go enjoy the rest of your evening? Get some rest,
All right.
man. You got to rest sometime, Justine. You
yeah,
know.
sometime, right?
I know.
All right. Well, why don't you guys go ahead and you can get off. Me and John Kyle will wrap this up. If Dylan gets in there, great. We'll give him a few more minutes, but we'll wrap it up. Thank you again, and appreciate
Well, thanks
you
for having us.
so much.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
All right. We'll stay on here, John Kyle.
Yeah,
All right.
sounds
So
great.
Dylan showed up yet?
Not
He
yet.
said, he said, how do I get in? Well, he might be having problems.
That's all good.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me see. I already told him how to get in. He can't get in. Click the link, bro. Click the link. We'll give another couple minutes. You can tell this is live.
That's pretty awesome. It's always interesting the final day because throughout the entire week, it kind of changed who was in the lead, and
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting because it's not even so much about who ultimately wins the audience pick, because each of these people are, their supporters are funding what it is that they want to be doing.
Yeah.
So everybody walks away a winner. It's just interesting if you end up being the audience pick, because then you're invited back to participate in a super round. You're also featured throughout the site in a different way, right?
Yeah. It's amazing. For you guys that aren't aware, everybody who receives votes that's on the round right now, they receive the majority portion of the vote. So and the more they get, the more percentage they get. So it's great. Yeah, that's him. You can let him in, John
So
Kyle.
here he
So
is.
all right. So here's our fan vote winner, Mr. Dylan Payne, coming on board right now. Let's see if we can get him in here. So let's
The
see.
Zoom magic.
Yeah, he's connecting up. So it's exciting. We'll give him a minute. All right. So he pulled it out at the very end there. He had that 130 vote come in, and he took the lead. He didn't relinquish it. So it was great. So Dylan, are you there yet, buddy? I don't hear him yet. He says he's technically challenged. He's
So am I.
Yeah, me too. Sometimes. I mean, I go to the store, I can't even figure out how to swipe my card. So we'll see if he actually makes it in. So
Yeah, we'll give him another minute.
give him a minute. Come on, you can do it, buddy. You can do it. Let's see. I don't know if he's gonna make it or not. Let's see if he's
That's all
texted me. Okay. Let's see. He says he can see us. Okay. Turn your.
Oh, it looks like you just left the room. Maybe we should just
on.
call it then.
Yeah, I think we probably should.
Oh, let's see. He just joined again. We can give it one more try.
Turn your video on.
Second time is sometimes the charm.
Unmute your audio. He said he could see us. All right, he's coming in. Unmute. I put immure. It was a spell check. All right, let's see if he makes it. Lenny, we can't see you and we can't hear you. So if you can see us and you can hear us, try to enable your video down there at the lower
The bottom left.
bottom
At the
left.
bottom left, it says mute and stop video. You want to unmute and start video.
Yeah, let's see if we can get you going here. Are you able to unmute him from your end, John Collin? No.
No.
Okay.
Let's see. I can ask him to unmute.
All right. I think what I need to do is give people a lesson on Zoom before we get to the end of the round. Unmute audio.
Yeah, I just. Oh,
All
I
right.
think it's unmuted now, but the
Len-
video's still not.
Dylan, you there?
I'm trying to be.
Oh,
There
now
we
we
go.
hear you.
We can
Do-
hear you.
Do you have
Am I
do you have any video? Can you turn the video thing on?
Yeah, allow Zoom to take pictures and record video. Allow. Okay.
There you
There we
are.
go. Hey.
Yeah, there.
It worked.
Congratulations. You,
It's been a long time.
I'm
Judge-
telling you, you made it. You pulled it out.
And believe me, I have to tell you, with all my fans and friends are from South Florida, and I couldn't get a hold of any one of them. I'm serious. But somehow, one phone call, and I got a couple of people at least out of 400 that I know. Because
Yeah.
all my friends and whatever are, even though I've been here for 3 years, are in South Florida. So yeah, I was up all night trying to instant message, and I got spam and whatever.
Yeah, but you were working it. You were working it, dude.
I was trying to work. I was actually working.
Yeah.
I just
Well-
got off my fifth 12-hour shift or whatever.
Where do you work at,
Wow.
buddy?
I work at a sandwich shop.
Do you really?
I'm sorry?
Awesome.
So you work at a sandwich shop in Denver?
No, that's the other dude. I'm in Murfreesboro.
Oh, I'm sorry. Duh.
My-
I can't keep track of y'all, man. Jeez.
Fine, that's fine. I met you. I don't know if you remember, but I met you in the National Rising Song in the last week, and first in the bathroom, and during the competition. You know what I mean? And you guys had done like 31 random picks, and I went there and you said, "Oh, I'm excited to hear about your song, whatever. Da da da. I hope you get picked." And I was one of 4 people that weren't picked.
Ugh.
Randomly, randomly. And I walked up to you afterward and I just gave you a card and you were like, "Oh, I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to hear your song." And I'm like, "No, that's cool. It's all good." I took a shot.
Yeah.
And I said one day, and I
That's
guess,
awesome. Here we are.
yeah. I was telling everyone how nice you were and,
Thank you.
And- no, you are. I mean, it was,
Well, I'm so excited for you, man. I'm so excited that you rallied the troops. You got some good fans in was it Mount Bethel, Pennsylvania?
no, I think that might've been somebody
Florida.
else. I don't even know. I don't,
Was that the
I
other
wasn't-
dude?
Yeah, it might've been the other dude.
Man, I'm so confused. I'm like, I can't keep track of all these votes.
But put it this way, I mean, if I could have gotten a hold of my peeps in South Florida, where I was the last 40 years, but I couldn't get a hold of anyone, and because I don't have any contacts on my phone of them, and the only couple of contacts, though, they passed away. And I posted on Facebook, and finally I called one dude, and he goes, "I had no clue." And so he threw in 100 votes. I'm like, "Yeah, but I mean, da 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 da."
That's
But,
amazing.
so I figured whatever. I mean, I was gonna call my old boss and I said, I'm not gonna do it. If it's God's will, it's God's will, you know. I mean,
That's
and I guess
amazing.
should my phone be up and down, I guess, or should I move this away?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay, I have it on my
Yeah,
music.
it's good.
Now you're good. You're good.
Okay.
So it's exciting. So you get to move on to the finals, and that's going to be really, really cool. So you can actually get yourself together and get your fans and get them to come back and vote for you again.
No, well, there's so many more like friends. I lived there for a long time, and I worked at a few restaurants there for a long time, and they always supported me. And I couldn't get a hold of, like I said, anyone. I mean, I posted on Facebook, but you know, people, you know what I mean? It's like I didn't pay any extra money for people to see the feed and stuff like that. You know, I mean, but a couple of phone calls, and like one dude was like, I don't know about any contests, and he called my other friend. and it was funny because I thought I was supposed to be on air at 8 when you were on with the judges or whatever. And he's like, what contest do you win? He goes, let me get my credit card out. Are you kidding me? And I said, yeah, whatever. If you want to, you want to. He goes, what, are you kidding me? No. He goes, I'm putting you in the lead. And he goes, and I had some likes. I'm like, stop liking the post. I'm like, vote. So maybe I guess those few extra dollars or whatever, you know, paid off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
That's
then
amazing.
a little funny story. I was on the phone with my cousin Dave Catania. I'm Italian, and he lives in now upstate, which is 20 miles away from New York City. But I remember in the middle of the week, he said, "Any votes you get with a vowel, you know it's from me."
That's amazing. Yeah, we see that one here
That was
right
actually
now.
the middle
That's
of the week.
great.
Yeah, my name is
That's
actually
awesome.
Lenny Gallo, but
Yeah. Where did Dylan Payne come from?
it came from because I've been writing since 1984. Okay, and I know you play the keys. I don't play the keys, but I sat down one day, and I wasn't trying to be a songwriter, but I didn't even have a guitar anymore. My grandmother had passed. She had lived with us, and a big family, whatever. And I was so sad. I hawked my guitar, whatever, and I lay down on the floor, and I just heard piano. I heard, because when I write, I usually hear kind of everything at once. And I heard piano, I heard strings coming in and this and that. And I wrote a song called Baby, I'm in Love. And anyway, through the years, I wrote a lot of ballads, and which I never knew till later. I didn't, looking back, that they could be male or female. It just happened to be piano ballads. I don't play piano, you know what I mean? And back in the 90s, and then it was the 90s, I started listening to country music again. And I was a big fan of Ronnie Millsap and Glenn Campbell back in the day. And I'm like, I'm not listening to, people were trying to get me into country. I'm like, I'm not listening to no Travis Tritt. What kind of a name is that? Yada, yada, you know. So, but all of a sudden I fell in love with it because it was, I said, this is, country has turned. You know what I mean? Bands like, not even Restless Heart, but going on to when I started listening to was Little Texas and Ricochet, and then Travis Tritt. I became a big fan. I actually wrote a song for him. I wrote a song called Stand Tall, which you'll never hear, but my boss went to get lunch one day, and I just sat down and I wrote a whole song called Stand Tall, which was his type of song, you know, and because I don't write with my voice. I just write what I hear in my head. And so I wrote and arranged a song called Stand Tall. And I fell in love with country music in the 90s, you know what I mean? And the reason why, to answer your question about Dylan Payne, is because, and I found out when I moved here that people said you were right. I thought I was overthinking. since my name is Lenny Gallo, obviously Italian, ethnic sounding. And I said, oh my God, that's not going to work in Nashville in the 90s, which I found out on my first writer's night that people told me, oh, you were right, it wouldn't have worked. So back then I said, I don't know, I'll use Payne. My mother's maiden name is Payne.
Okay.
So Payne, Pane from Italy. Payne, I said, what goes with Payne? Lenny Payne? I don't know, maybe still at the, I said, I don't know, Dylan Payne. So now your name could be Hubba Bubbalicious, it doesn't matter. But so back then, I'm like Dylan Payne, and I'm like, so nobody knew me as Dylan Payne, you know what I mean? My name is Lenny Gallo. But once I wrote a song on a pizza delivery called Moving Train, which is on SoundCloud. And I ended up doing a country demo, which somebody stole the DAT tape. I worked with a guy named Paul Umbuck, who was in Nashville. Now he's in Las Vegas, but he was in Nashville and worked with a group named 9 Days before they hit. And up in Long Island, I went up to Long Island and recorded a country demo, and Moving Train was one of them. And everyone said, that's not country. That's more like Southern rock. I'm like, that's the way country's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wrote and arranged the whole thing, and then I couldn't wait to go home and play it on my guitar to see how it sounded. You know, because it was all in my head, which is pretty much the way I write. You know, I mean,
Yeah, that process is interesting.
The guitar and write. It's just, I just all of a sudden, I guess from God, I don't even feel like I'm writing it. Any song I write, you know, it just comes out, and it comes, flows, and I don't actually sit down and say I'm going to write a song, ever. Except for a couple. I wrote a happy anniversary song from my now ex-wife, but but I wrote a song for her and called Happy Anniversary, and which would be marketable for it has to be a male, because the last 3 lines are my one true love, my best friend, my wife. So, but I realized a few years later that my songs are kind of generic, where they're not toward women. You know, anyone can sing them, females, males, because there's no like, you know, she's the one or whatever. And I mean, I don't want to get into everything I've written. I don't want to take up the time with all that.
Yeah. Well,
I appreciate the time, but that's the reason why I changed my name.
gotcha.
Dylan Payne.
All right.
And,
Well, look,
it is a real pain in the butt, because everyone knows me as Lenny Gallo back home. And I always have to use AKA Dylan Payne.
yeah.
Obviously,
Okay.
these days it could be Lenny Gallo again, but now it's too late. And that song Moving Train was actually back in MySpace, picked up by Countrified East Coast Edition. I don't know, they contacted me or whatever, and was on iTunes for a cup of coffee and whatever, and I didn't see a penny, whatever.
Well, you're going to see more than a penny with this.
I hear you, and I so appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got 764 votes, 764. And we're going to add another 100 onto that. So that's going to be cool. So you're going to have 864 total. And then we'll get our cut and we'll send you the difference, man. And you can use that for whatever you want. What are you going to use it for?
I would love to say that I'm going to use it to record some of these songs.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. This is just a partial. I've written like probably like 300, 400, 500 songs,
Wow.
and have like 1,000 half-written songs that I'm like, okay, why even finish it? You know what I mean? On voice recording stuff. But I write all different types of music. It's just whatever comes to my head at the time. I don't plan on it. It's just whatever. Something comes to my head, and I have no control over it, and I just sit down, and it just flows out.
Cool.
And yeah, so to answer your question, I don't know.
It's a good problem to have.
Well, yeah, I know it is. I'm just kind of in a sticky situation with living in a 3-2 by myself. and working a kind of menial job, whatever it is. I'm working. God bless that. But so
Yeah. Well, things like this,
I,
which
I,
are
would- I
able
would
to.
love to use it to record. And I actually moved up here to record. We sold the house back in South Florida. And my then wife said, I don't want to hear anything about your music unless we move to Tennessee. And so we moved here, and none of that money went toward recording. Let's just say. I didn't record a note, but it is what it is. You have to move on. And thank God for a contest like this.
Yeah, well,
And the
that's what I was
funny
gonna
part
say.
is the day I wrote the song actually in South Florida, I put that on my sign-up sheet because I wanted my son, who was then 8, and I said, I'm just gonna write a song for you to sing. You know what I mean? And because he used to love to sing when he was 4 or 5 years old, but now he was 8 or 9, and he said, so I wrote a verse chorus, and he goes, I'm not singing. He goes, I don't want to sing anything. And he plays instruments now and everything. He's 13. And I put the song away, and I filed it away with all the other ones. And when I moved here, I just pulled it out and I said, okay, I just might as well finish it. So I sat down, I just finished. Like a half hour later, the song was done and just filed away. And when I saw this contest, I mean, I played it out at a couple writers' nights and stuff like that. But when I saw this contest, I'm like, okay, it was, and I recorded the video for this thing, for this contest back in May, right after I totaled my car.
Oh,
Totaled my truck 2 totals ago. Yeah. I totaled my truck work. And if you knew Murfreesboro, you know the underpass. And yeah, somebody cut me off at the underpass. I came home, I ran out, jogged, took a shower, threw this thing on. My amp broke with the mic, and I said, screw it. I said, I'm just going to record this song, enter in the contest, whatever it is, take a shot.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Amazing. Well, we're glad you were able to join, and this has been really fun.
Oh my God. It's been hell.
all right. Well, we're glad you enjoyed it.
No, it's been great. It's been great. It's just been, and Keith knows because I've texted him before. I don't know how to do links. I don't know how to do.
Oh, don't worry about it.
I
No,
mean,
this is
writing and arranging. I could write you a song as we're sitting here, but literally. But all that other stuff, and it's just, it's like I'm living in the 70s.
Honestly, the 70s sound a lot better than
I know
today
you
right
can't
now.
be that way. You can't. You have to learn how to use all the stuff. But you know what I mean?
That's
And I
awesome.
never got a manager when I moved here. There was a song pitcher, I won't mention his name, that I was going to hook up with. And all of a sudden the money wasn't there. So it's kind of just been me and the guitar. And I don't write for, like, I'm not a James Taylor dude, whom I love. I'm not a Jim Croce, whom I love. You know what I mean? When I write, I kind of hear everything at once. So even with this song, I try to, and I unconsciously play, since I really haven't been in bands, I play with the pick, I play with the right hand for the drums or for the, you know what I mean? I try to get the whole arrangement with just this. And it's sickening. It really stinks, you know? In fact, just real quick, I was at an open mic back in Florida years ago, and I was doing Moving Train, and I'm singing it, and all of a sudden guys jump behind me and drums and this and that, and I was hearing it from behind me, and I'm like, it threw me off because I was so happy to hear it, like with drums, because the people knew the song, and I almost like forgot the words. I didn't know where. So I'm like, I'm so used to doing it, you know what I mean? Just me and an acoustic guitar, hooked up, But anyway,
Well,
That's awesome.
as people
All
know,
we need to wrap this up, man. It's getting late. So we're going on 9:30, but congratulations again, Lenny.
Yeah, huge congrats.
Yeah. and I'll be in touch. We need to send you some money, and I'll be contacting you to interview you this week through Zoom again. So we'll do another little Zoom interview this week with you. We could talk a little bit more about your writing and what you're doing there. Okay. So, all right. So John Kyle, you want to take us out?
Yeah, this is another great round. I mean, it was something where you're never sure how it's going to turn out when you start it, and that we had over 3,500 votes come in to support songwriters is super encouraging, I think, for everyone. And so we'll see everybody here again in a week from now. And if anybody's interested in applying, we'd be more than happy to have you.
Yep. All right. Well, let's say goodbye, okay, and get on with the rest of our weekend. All right. So.
All right. Have a great evening.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much. God bless
All right.
you guys.
God bless you.
Take
See you.
care.
I appreciate it. You have a great night.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.